We're going to stay with our lead story and the issue on the Gambia and the deployment of troops by the ECOWAS sub-region. Now, let's get a legal perspective on all this. I'm now being joined on the News at 10 by Mr. Chukwuemeka Eze. Thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10 tonight.
Good evening. Thank you.
Now, how legal? I mean, you're a legal practitioner, so tell us the legal implication of what ECOWAS has done.
I think with the passage of the United Nations resolution, the action of the ECOWAS will be legal and cannot be questioned in any court of law, either now or in the future. And I think that was why the ECOMIG, that's the ECOWAS military intervention in the Gambia, why they waited in Senegal so that the United Nations could pass the supporting resolution. So that makes it legal because Gambia is a member of the United Nations, and under the United Nations Charter, although as a general rule, a country ought not to intervene in another country's affairs by virtue of Article 2, Paragraph 7, pain parem non habet imperum, that's the Latin maxim. But there are derogations from it, and Gambia has signed multilateral and bilateral treaties leading to these derogations. So it will not be a head in the mouth of Gambia. In any case, who will complain now? Because Jammeh belongs to the past. Under international law, by way of recognition, when you read about congratulations in this context goes beyond that. It means they have recognized Adama Barrow. That recognition has taken away the powers of Jammeh. Jammeh can no longer appoint Gambia's representative in the United Nations. He can no longer appoint ambassadors. They can no longer send letters to him as His Excellency. So he's there as just warming the seat, wasting his time.
But even for us back home, I mean, our senators have also been discussing it, and we saw there was a bit of, they were debating it in a way, let me say discussing, it didn't get up to a debate. What does the Constitution say about our own aspect of sending our own troops there?
No, by my own understanding, the President ought to have informed the Senate. And it ought to have been argued before the Senate, simply. But I think the Senate President tried to save the President, to save the situation. But it is improper because let's take it from the angle of the Appropriation Act. Is there any expenditure in the Appropriation Act for 2016 to be spent on troops sent to Gambia?
What of in cases of an emergency and you need to do so?
But we don't have such a budget. We don't have such a budget. So where will you get the money? The President will not spend his personal money. So even taking it from the Appropriation Act of 2016, he would have spent money not appropriated. That in itself will be unconstitutional. But I think with what is on board, the Senate President, and at the end of the day, the National Assembly, we try to salvage the situation one way or the other.
So how do you see this whole thing playing out now on the global stage legally?
I think the matter is simple, because this is the product of an election. So nobody will accuse one country or the other of trying to impose its will on the people of Gambia. And as we know, Senegal had a union with Gambia between 1982 and 1989, the Senegambia Federation. So as it is, the way it will play out is the way it has played out. That is, the commander-in-chief is Adama Barrow. And he can order external troops to invade his own country and take away the coupists, because Jammeh is an insurrectionist now. He's a coup plotter.
In the eyes of the law?
In the eyes of the law. So anybody collaborating with him is collaborating with a coup plotter and committing treason against the Constitution of the country.
Mr. Chukwuemeka Eze, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us on the News at 10 tonight.
Thank you.
Let's take a break from regional politics and cross over to Abuja now. Here's Ivy Clem. Hey, Ivy.
Hello, Ijoma. The police command in Plateau State have intercepted another group of children being trafficked to the southeastern part of the country in Jos. The public relations officer of the command, Matthias Tupev, told Channels Television that the suspect, a female, was apprehended at the Gadabu Motor Park while boarding a vehicle to Anambra State with 16 children. He said suspects involved in the trafficking of the 145 children rescued some days ago have been charged to court.
According to the International Labour Organization, about 1.2 million children are trafficked every year. This startling statistics appears not to be lost on the men of the Nigerian police force in Jos, the Plateau State capital, north-central Nigeria, as they nabbed yet another syndicate specialized in trafficking children. A spokesman of the command gives an account of the latest arrest.
Our operatives intercepted a woman who is in the business of taking children from the north to the east. Specifically, she's from Toro. She took alongside her 16 children aged between 10 to 13 years.
The suspect, 27-year-old Rifiat Bello, denies any wrongdoing, insisting she was returning the children for the continuation of the primary school education in Onitsha.
Yeah, I want to take them from Onitsha. They are schooled there. Primary school.
How many children?
13 children.
How long have you been doing this?
No, not that first one where they do. I then reach that 2 years.
But this alibi doesn't seem convincing enough to the police.
With our own interrogation with an interview with the children, that the conductors, 2 from each of the trucks, were using horsewhip on them, that they were chopped in the vehicle, and whenever one complains, the horsewhip will be used on him. But we are taking these drastic measures so that it will serve to those who are intending to do something similar to this.
The fight against child trafficking is an enormous one, and there must be a collective resolve to tackle the menace.
Meanwhile, the Catholic Archbishop of Abuja has expressed concern over the continued absence of Reverend Father Gabriel Oyaka, who was said to have been abducted in Okene Town, Kogi State on September 7, 2015 while traveling from Abuja to Onitsha. Archbishop John Cardinal Onayeko, during a news briefing in Abuja, said the prevailing insecurity in the country is giving criminal elements the freedom to perpetrate such crimes with impunity. Our correspondent Ajuri Ingelale reports.
Leaders of the Catholic Church decry the economic hardship in the land, stating that violence and criminality are on the rise due to increasing desperation across Nigeria.
People have been kidnapped, some came back, some haven't come back. And as we are talking, kidnapping, killing is still going on. The country cannot sustain this indefinitely.
Criminality is an issue at the forefront of their minds as they express dissatisfaction with the continued absence of Reverend Father Gabriel Oyaka more than 16 months after his abduction in Okene Town of Kogi State.
We have done the best we can. We have tried to look for him. We have prayed and prayed, and we hope others too will pray according to whatever language they speak with God.
Sojourning to Nigeria from his base in Rome to raise an alarm on the missing clergymen, one Reverend Father says what Nigerians value most manifests in the life of society for better or for worse.
We celebrate in Nigeria in somebody who has arrived. And who is somebody who has arrived? It's somebody who has made money, who has houses, who has property everywhere. But we don't ask, how do people make their money? We've lost the sacredness of the human person. That is why a poor person has no respect. The handicapped have no respect. Even the old people now, they don't have respect.
While lamenting the absence of justice in the case of the missing reverend, the leaders of the church insist that securing Nigeria depends on the committed input of the citizens, religious institutions, and government alike. Ajuri Ngelale, Channels Television News.
The National Association of Resident Doctors has announced a 7-day warning strike to press home their demands for improved welfare and infrastructure in the health sector. The national president of the association, Mr. Pt.2 Onyebweze, made the announcement at a news conference in Abuja, directing all members of the association to down tools with immediate effect. According to him, the federal government has also failed to implement an agreement it reached on a residency training policy last year.
All our members nationwide are to totally withdraw their services for the said period. Please note that any form of victimization shall stoutly be resisted by the association. Furthermore, there shall be an operation NAD Occupy National Assembly by our members once every month, without any further delay being rolled into IPs to ensure that our members are paid their salaries when every other worker in Nigeria gets his own salary, to ensure that the leakages so far observed in the GIFMI salary structure is plugged.
The President has proceeded on a 10-day leave to the United Kingdom. In a letter read by the Senate President today, President Muhammadu Buhari states that the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, will be acting President during the period of his absence from January the 23rd to February the 6th. Before proceeding on vacation in the UK, President Buhari held a meeting with the service chiefs behind closed doors at the presidential wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport, Abuja. Our State House correspondent Chukwuma Onyekwusi reports.
The meeting with the service chiefs lasted for about an hour. On the front burner is the situation in the Gambia. The president has been a mediator and needs to be updated by the service chiefs.
The meeting was to give Mr. President updates on our operations within and outside the country, especially our involvement in ECOWAS standby force that is being inducted into the Senegal, so that in issue of their mandate, ensuring that the president-elect of the Gambia is sworn in.
The president himself made it clear that there is nothing wrong with going on vacation just before stepping into the presidential jet.
What's wrong with going on vacation? Didn't I go last year at the same time?
Among the president's official staff at the airport to see him off include the special advisor on media and publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina, who told journalists that there is nothing to worry about the president's house.
No, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. But we need to show goodwill towards our leaders, particularly President Muhammadu Buhari, who is working to give Nigeria a new footing, a new orientation. Nothing absolutely to worry about, but a lot of goodwill, a lot of prayers are necessary at all times.
While away, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, will perform the functions of the office of the President, who is expected to resume work on February 6, 2017. Chukwuma Onyekwusi, Channels Television News.